To assemble the filler machine, begin by adding the spout filler valve. Place a gasket into the circular gasket groove on the filler valve, and then hold it against the main valve while using the clamp to securely lock it in place. Next, you'll need to attach the pneumatic lines to the filler valve. Check that both pneumatic connectors are facing the main body of the machine and are snug, but not too tight. To attach the hoses, find the pneumatic hoses labeled top and bottom and simply push them into the pneumatic connectors. Now, attach the hopper by placing a gasket onto the circular gasket groove on the top of the main rotary valve, then placing the hopper on top and using another circular clamp to lock the hopper in place. Make sure the clamp is tight because the hopper is going to support the weight of the nut butter. Now it's time to power up. Plug in the machine's power cord and set the switch to on the machine, and plug in the air compressor and turn the air compressor switch to on as well. Connect one end of the yellow pneumatic hose to the air compressor and then plug the other end of the hose into the quick connect fitting on the filler machine. Then switch the air valve on the machine from off to on by sliding the blue ring in towards the machine. Once the air valve is turned on, you'll see the pressure gauge indicate that the machine is pressurized. Depending on how the machine was put away, you may also see some of the pistons move at this time. On the front end of the machine, make sure that the red safety switch is set to on by twisting it clockwise and pulling it off. Adjust the fill size by rotating the adjustment wheel on the back end of the machine. Turning the wheel adjusts the position of a sensor that tells the filler piston when to stop. I tried to make a ruler that indicates some fill sizes on the side of the machine, but these are approximate and will need to be fine-tuned. That should be it. Pressing the foot pedal, shown here without shoes for clarity, will cycle the filler machine. Two things will be visible when you do this. One, the main filler piston will extend, and two, the rotary valve piston will contract as shown in this video. These pistons should reset each time the machine cycles. When you're done filling, you'll need to cycle the machine a few times to clear out as much nut butter as possible before taking it apart. Begin the disassembly by turning off the air valve and power switch and then removing the yellow pneumatic hose and power cable. Disconnect the hopper next by loosening the large clamp. Remember to remove and clean the gasket and store it with the hopper. Next, disconnect the pneumatic hoses from the filler spout valve by pushing down on the collar around the hose and then pulling the hose straight out. You can then remove the filler spout valve by loosening the clamp. Again, keep an eye on the gasket to clean it and store with the valve. Now it's time to remove the main rotary valve. Start by using the 6mm Allen wrench to loosen the bolt holding the rotary valve piston to the rotary valve. Once it's loose, you can just hand tighten the bolt back into the valve in the meantime. To remove the valve itself, loosen the large circular clamp around the base of the rotary valve until you can remove the entire valve and its gasket. For cleaning, this part is surprisingly heavy. Clean and dry the valve and gasket, and take time to clean out the inside of the filler piston before reassembling the machine. Reinstall the rotary valve by fitting the gasket into the circular groove on the valve and then lining the rotary valve up with the filler piston and attaching it using the large circular clamp. When reattaching the rotary valve, it's helpful to rest the weight of the valve on this little block on top of the machine as you tighten the clamp. Reattach the rotary valve piston to the valve using a 6mm Allen wrench and tighten the bolt until the lock washer is fully flattened. That's it. The machine is now ready to be used for the next flavor of nut butter, or it can be stored until it's time to use it again in the next production batch.